Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with Trek. We are not in the office right now, but the show must go on, man. I appreciate you guys for tapping in like you always do. Per usual, on Sundays, we're going to run back a classic for all the brand new fam that have just subbed up. So it's going to be a brand new episode on the front and the classic on the back to catch everybody who just subscribed up, man. So without any further ado, smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, and let's jump right into it.
A Michigan woman used ChatGPT to play the lottery and she won. Tammy Carvey says while playing Powerball last month, instead of picking the numbers, she let ChatGPT pick them. Asking for a set of Powerball numbers, Tammy matched 4 out of 5 winning numbers and the Powerball. She added in a power play, boosting her winnings to $100,000. She plans to pay off her home, but 4 out of 5 numbers, she came close to winning the whole thing here. I'll be talking to ChatGPT during the commercial break.
Hey, now you know it was a matter of time before ChatGPT started doing things like that. But why couldn't it be me? Why couldn't it have been me? I need to start tapping into that ChatGPT just a bit more now.
When Elias Brotberger goes to work, he doesn't need ID. And he doesn't need money. In fact, much of what he needs to get through the day is hidden right there, just below the surface, in his hand.
You like to touch it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, weird. Yeah, it's like a grain of rice.
Yeah, a grain of rice.
Embedded in his hand is a microchip that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
Yeah, it's all in chip, so I use it like to get around the building.
Buy snacks.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's buy some snacks.
Exactly.
So I can't open it.
No.
Okay.
So what I need to do is I need to first blip my chip, and it will log me in, and from there I get access to the fridge.
Popular TV shows like Black Mirror have imagined chips as part of a dystopian future.
Install ingrain procedure with local anesthetic and you're good to go.
In Sweden, the microchips are already here.
In Sweden, thousands of people have taken a futuristic leap by implanting tiny microchips into their hands. About the size of a grain of rice, these chips work as digital IDs, payment cards, and even transit passes. With just a swipe of the hand, people can pay for coffee, unlock doors, or ride a train. It's the same technology as contactless cards, but now the card is under your skin. This is happening in Sweden for a reason. The country is already one of the most cashless societies in the world. Only about 1% of its economy still runs on physical cash, compared to 10% across Europe. Younger Swedes almost never touch coins or bills, and even companies like IKEA have tested going completely cash-free, discovering that hardly any customers noticed. For businesses, it saved hours that used to be wasted counting cash. But not everyone is celebrating. Critics worry about privacy and security, especially if implants ever link to government records or health data. Seniors and immigrants are also concerned about being left behind in a system that assumes everyone wants to go digital. Sweden is showing the world how far cashless culture can go, but it also raises a new reality. When money lives under your skin, the future feels a lot closer than we thought.
The Swedish company Epicenter went viral on Friday when it publicized a new technology that would implant a microchip under your skin to prove that you've taken the Fauci ouchie. There are many lessons to take away from this creepy turn of events. First, ideas that began as wild, crazy conspiracy theories are morphing into reality before our very eyes as we enter into the third year of 15 Days to Slow the Spread.
Hey, the predictive programming has been so strong for the past 10, 20, 30 years that we're at the point where I don't think there's going to be much backlash over getting this chip. As crazy as that sounds, I just feel like people are just going to start to do it because there's no other option. I don't think there's really going to be an uproar or even a fight back, really. Let me know what you think about the chip in the hand, man. That's crazy.
Are you a cannibal? No. You know what you have to do to be a cannibal? You have to have actually eaten someone. Have you ever eaten any human flesh? No.
Morbid Facts, Part 439. The career of actor Armie Hammer quickly fell off in 2021 when several women accused him of being an abusive partner and aspiring cannibal. For example, his ex-girlfriend Courtney Vucekovich says their relationship was like dating Hannibal Lecter. She claims he genuinely tried convincing her to remove one of her ribs so that he could barbecue and eat it. In a collection of alleged messages, Armie claimed that he wanted to cut her skin and drink her blood, but that he would stitch her up again so as not to waste a perfect slave. He also wrote about wanting to pounce on her and grape her at knife point while she cried, and wanting to cut off one of her toes to keep a piece of her with him at all times. In response to these disturbing allegations, Army was quoted saying, "I don't think that's any different than when someone looks at a baby and goes, 'Oh my god, look at those fat little legs. I just want to eat you up.'"
I don't see his situation getting any better. If you check out my last video, the ex-CIA agent breaks down his whole mannerism, his whole body language, and really just believes that he actually is a cannibal. That's pretty wild when you get the whole world to see who you are behind closed doors. And the wildest part is, I think he's taking it as a joke. I think he thinks it's funny, but eventually it's all gonna come back to bite him. No pun intended.
According to psychology, if you're the kind of person who replays conversations or interactions in your head all the time, you're experiencing something called rumination. When you do this, your mind is actually trying to fix what felt unsafe or unresolved. And your mind isn't trying to torture you, it's actually trying to protect you from a perceived social threat or an emotional incompletion. Be careful, because the more you ruminate, the more anxious you become, and the more your brain thinks it needs to continue thinking that way in order to stay safe.
Neuroscience actually shows that motivation doesn't cause effort. Effort actually causes motivation. Your brain rewards action with actual dopamine. So when you go and fulfill your goals, your brain is actually really happy that you're doing that. And that dopamine will fuel more action. Whenever you get an idea, don't go and tell people and release dopamine. Go and actually do the actions to fulfill that idea. And that will give you the real dopamine to keep doing it.
And to piggyback off of that, motivation is a fleeting emotion. It just isn't going to be there for you the way you would like it to be. But discipline, man, if you can master discipline, that's going to push motivation. It's going to push everything else. And actually, discipline is what's going to get you everything that you want, you know, in every aspect of life. And that's a fact.
Thousands of people have stormed to the internet talking about how unsafe they're going to make this country for the rest of us. I cannot even believe I'm having to make this video. Thousands, again, thousands upon thousands of people are making videos on TikTok and other platforms saying that they're going to be daylight robbing people for their groceries. Not just your groceries, they're going to be robbing cars, houses, anything you can even think of. And trust me, this video is a must-see. I never say that. We're about to get into really how bad it is. We just had the U.S. Marshal shooting this morning. We just had the cartels allegedly put bounties on ICE agents. People are absolutely, literally going insane. First, let's talk about all the alleged robberies that may just take place. It's because the EBT line is not working for this November, I guess because of the shutdown, but also, it's also because they added or updated work requirements, making you work 20 hours a week. Let me preface this video by saying I sympathize with the people that are on EBT. I do. I understand how that can be difficult and not make enough money and be able to qualify for something like EBT. And I'm not too proud to say I've gotten EBT before. Most recently, when my son died a few years back, we ended up getting it for a few months while I was taken off of work. But while sympathizing, to then threaten every single person in broad daylight in the Walmart parking lot, food banks exist. We cannot get to the place in society where we're too proud to go into a food bank, but we're not too proud to rob someone for their groceries in the parking lot. So let's listen to a few mentions.
People are going to start, I'm telling you, this is going to be a thing. People are going to start, instead of stealing groceries from the stores, they're going to start watching people go to their cars. And they're going to take all of their groceries. And you know what the store going to do? Not our problem.
Just a quick FYI, I wouldn't try that in an open carry state.
And a PSA to them retail workers during this hard time of going on in the world, I really don't advise y'all to try to chase after anybody that's trying to collect them some food for their family as they're walking out that door with that cart, because you might around and don't make it home.
Stealing food is not collecting food. Again, I do sympathize with hard times.
Y'all better lock y'all cars at night, lock your cars, lock your house up. If you're one of the people that just leave your car unlocked, parked in your driveway, you better lock it. With the food stamps being gone and people not gonna have no, people gonna eat, okay? Nobody's just gonna, this is 2025, nobody's just not gonna eat, food stamps, I'm telling you right now.
And then we had the U.S. Marshal get shot today. We have shootings all over the country happening every single day in schools and churches, etc. The alleged bounty on ICE workers, these protests happening day by day, clashing with government agencies. Civil war is right around the corner. And these people, they know it. Completely unrelated, not only does the media know this, it's actually playing stories and videos to make us mad at each other. It's crazy. Completely unrelated.
Now, in the beginning of that clip, he makes a great point. there's all kinds of other ways that you can get food, you know what I mean? Instead of having to steal, you know, and do the wrong thing.
We've all seen this video where the Tesla's driving through the cemetery and there's people showing up on the display, but there's actually no one there. No way. All right, we got to try this. It's close to Halloween. Let's give it a shot, bro. Let's go. All right, so we just pulled into the cemetery. It looks like there's a person standing. What? Oh, no way, dude. There's nothing around us right now. Oh, what? It looks like there's a person right there, but there's nothing. What the heck, dude? Okay, I'm officially creeped out. It's gone now. Oh, nope, it's back. What is happening? Hey, that was creepy, bro. I'm thoroughly creeped out. We should leave now.
I'm extremely interested in knowing and finding out if any of the iTrack fam has experienced that. If you've got a Tesla and if you've ever just had to go through, or if you've ever went through a cemetery and seen those figures like that, let me know. Because I'm not too sure if this is cap or if this is facts. But it seems like it might be the real thing because of the technology that Elon's putting in cars. So definitely tap in and let me know what's going on.
I'm convinced that the cuttlefish has more superpowers than all the Avengers combined. First off, these things are poisonous, and their poison is as potent as the venom of a blue-ringed octopus, which is the most dangerous octopus in the world. Not to mention, their poison contains an unidentified compound, so scientists can't even make an antidote. They also have really special eyes that can see for 2 miles, in every direction all at once. They have 360-degree vision, so you can't even sneak up on them from 2 miles away. On top of that, they can also camouflage. They could change their color and their texture. So it's kind of like a chameleon, but better. But the craziest part about them is they can also flash their camouflage on their skin, which induces hypnosis on their prey. They can hypnotize their prey. I have seen it all.
The creeps.
It's a cuttlefish mimicking a human face. I've heard this theory that like cephalopods are aliens, and I kind of believe it now, but that's some predator shit. That's not okay, and that's a real life thing that lives in the water that people are by.
What if I told you there's an animal that could kill you without ever touching you? This is proof that the entire ocean needs a nerf. Sperm whales are the loudest mammals on Earth, producing sounds that can reach 230 decibels. I'm not going to bore you with numbers, just know that 150 can burst your eardrums. Jet engines are 140. Now you might think they're not as bad because they're in the water. I mean, you're right, but not really. Because even underwater, these seaman whales can produce at least 175 decibels. The death threshold for sound is 185 to 200, so if it doesn't send you to your ancestors, it definitely gets you closer to them. Luckily, sperm whales don't use lethal force. Not on us, anyway. They use it to communicate and understand their surroundings. Don't get it twisted, though. Sperm whale saying hello could still be your game over. Because a sound loud enough can cause an embolism in your lungs, which travels to your heart. And at that point, you'd be doing the underwater Nate Robinson challenge permanently. Moral of this video is don't piss off a sperm whale. Because if he raises his voice, your soul will ascend and your body won't come with it.
What would happen if you drilled a hole straight through the ice in Antarctica and jumped in? There's something crazy down there. So what happens is you jump in and the snow around you quickly changes to dense blue ice. As you go deeper, you realize the air bubbles trapped all around you are from the time of the Renaissance on the surface. Then ancient Rome. Then the last ice age. But the pressure keeps rising and you keep getting closer to Earth's hot core. So 4 kilometers down, the ice suddenly turns to water. You're inside a lake, a massive lake, trapped completely under the surface, sealed off from the rest of the world for at least 15 million years. So, inside that lake, you might see life forms that have been evolving in total isolation. We know it's there because scientists bounced radio waves through the ice and spotted this smooth, flat line, meaning liquid water. And in 2012, a Russian team finally reached it with a special drill. But right as the water was going to rush into the borehole, they stopped and they let a tiny bit of lake water freeze in that hole and brought the ice up for study. And they found some unusual bacterial DNA, but nothing conclusive yet about more complex animals. Scientists want to go back, but it's controversial. They worry about contamination. But we now know that there are over 400 lakes down there. And something else. If you want to know what, follow for more.
You guys, they show us in the movies what's going on in real life. So if you heard of Mall World, okay, if you haven't, search it on TikTok. Your mind's gonna be blown away. and why this is not a good place to go to. So in the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio, they go into a dream state, and you'll recognize that they don't want to disturb the peace there, because if they do, people will attack them. The people in the dream will try to kick them out, and that's exactly what happens in Mall World, you guys. My amazing friend pointed that out. She's like, have you seen the movie Inception? Because exactly what your dream was, what you said, is what happens in the movie Inception. You guys, Mall World is not a place you want to go to, okay? You can astral project into other realms that are way better for you. Follow me and save this video if you want to learn how.
I still have yet to see any kind of mall world. I've never even been to any kind of mall in my dreams. Nothing like it. In my previous video, a few people have commented and said the same thing, and a few people have said they've seen it. So I'm still calling it cap.
I used AI to build a cheat code for video games. But it's not what you think, because his cheat code is a computer that electrocutes his arm so he can aim faster than any human on Earth. It is absolutely insane. This guy's name is basically Homeless, and what you're seeing is a homemade electrocution aimbot. Listen to how this works. First, he hooks up electrodes to 4 muscles in his arm, and those electrodes connect back to a Raspberry Pi computer. But here's the interesting part. He wrote a software program that calculates the distance between his crosshairs and any enemy on the screen. So when an enemy comes into view, that distance is relayed back to the Raspberry Pi, which fires the electrodes that literally shock his muscles to move his arm into the perfect spot to shoot the enemy. It is absolutely wild he got that to work. And get this, his reaction time using this contraption is superhuman. It's literally faster than any human in the world could move, and he has footage proving it. So it's kind of cheating, but not really, because it's his arm still doing the shooting. Either way, shout out science. And for everyone worried that AI is going to take our jobs, if it all does go to zero, I guess we could just do this.
You're not a real gamer unless you have electrodes attached to your arm shocking you so you can be the best shooter. Period.
Gang that just robbed the Louvre in Paris. I have some good news and bad news. Good news is that the robbery looked professional. You got in and out in minutes. The jewels you stole are said to be priceless. And some people are calling this the heist of the century, a real Ocean's 11. Bad news is that unless you already have a buyer for the jewels, you're probably gonna have to break them down and sell them, as is usually done when museum pieces like these are stolen. Which at first you'd think would be fine, considering you got away with about 4,000 diamonds, 130 emeralds, 210 pearls, 150 grams of gold, and 80 grams of silver. But the price of diamonds has been falling like crazy. The value of these raw materials is about $4.5 million. Actually, scratch that, because you dropped the crown of Princess Eugenie, which may have been the most valuable piece. So call materials costs about $3.8 million. Split between you 4 robber pals, pretty good payday. But since these are stolen and unique jewels, they aren't going to be easy to sell in the black market. You're going to have to take a pretty big discount. Maybe you'll get half the value, but probably less. So you'll each walk away with a few $100,000. Then again, if you have a buyer for the actual pieces of jewelry, which is possible considering the black market for goods like these turns over hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars a year, then you'll probably be walking away with tens of millions of dollars each. But if not, at least you got that Ocean's 11 comparison. I cover stories like this in my free newsletter. Link in bio.
Peter Jackson was in talks to direct Nightmare on Elm Street 6, where he would have made Freddy Krueger the victim. In the late 80s, after his splatter comedy Bad Taste became a sensation, Jackson was hired to pitch Nightmare on Elm Street 6, The Dream Lover. His idea flipped the whole franchise. Freddy wasn't scary anymore, he was washed up, a joke. Jackson's version had teens deliberately taking sleeping pills so they could enter the dream world, just to beat Freddy up for fun. Humiliated and weak, Freddy slowly regains his power through their fear and turns the tables again. So Jackson's version was somewhat like New Nightmare, a meta-horror about fandom, burnout, and a monster that had lost its audience. New Line rejected the script saying it was too weird, but imagine if Jackson had made that movie. Would you have watched Peter Jackson's Freddy comeback story?
I'm not quite sure I'd watch it. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street was one of the first movies that gave me night terrors. You know what I mean? As a young lad, that movie really messed me up good, because he's ugly, right? And just his features alone gave you the creeps, let alone what he was doing. And when he whipped his hand out like that and you seen the blades, man, you knew you were finished. They definitely did a great job with that one.
He mailed himself across the world, trying to save money on airfare, and what was already a bad idea on paper was a disaster in reality. 19-year-old Brian Robson was living in Australia and wanted to get back home to Great Britain, but couldn't afford a plane ticket. He did, however, notice a local moving company advertised they could ship anything, anywhere, and that's when his idea was born. His friends nailed him inside a small wooden crate with his suitcase, a water bottle, and a hammer to free himself, expecting a 22-hour trip but they couldn't have been more wrong. The crate got shipped upside down, and because the box was so small, there was no room to move. So that's how Brian traveled. Delays after delays hit, and after 96 hours of Brian slipping in and out of consciousness, he heard American accents. He yelled for help, staff freed him from the box, and Brian found himself in Los Angeles. He was in bad shape, was rushed to the hospital where it took days to recover, but after an airline heard about his ordeal, they flew him home for free in first class.
Candace Owens has just revealed shocking evidence of a plane that was flying by at the same time as the Charlie Kirk event. Apparently, this guy Derek was flying a private jet from a nearby airport, and coincidentally, as the incident with Charlie took place, his transponder turned off for an unknown reason. To put it in perspective, airplanes almost never turn off their transponders unless they're flying over like a military base or something, so it's extremely unusual that this happened. The thing is, the FBI director himself said that this was a complete accident and there is no need to investigate this matter any further, but the pilot himself is claiming that he got special permission to turn it off. So this has many netizens online, including Candace, speculating that this was not an accident at all, and are even suggesting that a foreign government may have planned this attack all along.
If you have tattoos, then this could be your lymph nodes. Did you know that the ink used in tattoos can actually travel to your lymph nodes? So this lymph node has become dark and black because the pigment from the tattoo has actually traveled all the way to the lymph nodes. The way that this happens is that we have specialized cells of our body known as macrophages. They help to fight infection. And because they see the ink as a foreign material, these macrophages actually go in and gobble up the ink. They carry the ink back to the lymph nodes. Now, in the lymph nodes, the ink is deposited and the macrophages eventually die off. But this is constantly happening. This also explains why as tattoos get older, the fine lines and the crispness of the tattoo will become more faded and blurry. It's because your immune system, specifically your macrophages, are actually attacking and trying to get rid of the tattoo.
So imagine all the people with face tats, right? All that ink going straight to your brain.
History has just been made. The world has a new, most powerful woman. This is Sanai Takaichi, and she has just been elected as Japan's first ever female prime minister. Not only does that put her in control of the world's fourth largest economy, but she did this despite Japan's politics still being heavily dominated by men. But what makes this even more interesting is that she actually shares many similar conservative views with the man that is in charge of the world's most powerful economy. In fact, some have even gone as far to say that she is the female Donald Trump. And similar to him, her background isn't even in politics. She worked in television for years and was even a biker and heavy metal drummer. Her father worked at a car company, her mother was a police officer, and now they are parents to the world's most powerful woman.
And you know what? Just like Trump, she's just the face, you know? There's all kinds of other things going on in the background that's really dictating what's going on. If you know, you know.
7 minutes, 4 people managed to steal hundreds of millions of dollars at one of the most popular museums in the world in broad daylight. So this was in Paris on Sunday morning at the Louvre Museum, and this sounds straight out of a movie. So there are 4 thieves in total, and 2 of them were wearing yellow vests, and they parked a truck-mounted basket lift on the side of the museum, and they used this to access the balcony, and they used power tools and angle grinder to break open the window, where they went inside of the Apollo gallery that's full of historic crown jewels. The craziest part is they were only inside of the museum for 4 minutes and they stole 8 objects. You can see everything they stole here. Luckily, they dropped the crown of the wife of Napoleon III on their way out, which had about 2,500 diamonds on it, and they exited on 2 motorcycles. They have not found the suspects yet, although this is time sensitive because they're more than likely to start breaking down these items and selling the jewels on the black market. So when they catch these guys, or if they do, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated.
This is Jeff Bezos' house, and his bushes are so tall that there's a $1,000 per month fine from his community for him to live there because of his bushes. He just pays it. He makes that in 2 seconds.
So the CIA casually told us that reality is a hologram, and they proved it through their project Stargate. Maybe you didn't hear in that same project, they discovered that human consciousness is it's non-local, meaning it's non-local to your body and it's non-local to your brain. So, hey, where the heck is it? Where do I go when I fall asleep? Billie Eilish. I think knows the answer. I don't know. Anyways, this is my driver.
Project Iceworm.
Project Iceworm.
Cold War era. U.S. and Russia did a lot of weird things during the Cold War era. There's an ice sheet over Greenland, and it's taller than any building in New York City. Here comes the United States of America. They made a deal with Greenland, like, hey, can we just basically occupy this couple tens of thousands of miles in the northern part of Greenland? And they're like, yeah, sure. They had this genius idea. We're just gonna bore giant tunnels into the ice, put buildings inside of there. Their goal was to set up 600 nuclear missiles underground in the ice in Greenland. What they did not account for is that this ice sheet over Greenland constantly moves. They ended up pulling out and just abandoning the whole site. During this stay, they did drill into the ice and they hit the ancient floor of Greenland.
Wow.
And they collected soil samples and they brought it up and they just forgot about it for years. And then in 2019, somebody's like, what are those jars? Oh, they're from the 60s when we went to Greenland and found ancient Earth. Let's study it. The conclusion that they found was that this ice sheet over Greenland is not millions of years old, much younger than that, and it's actually melting at a rapid pace. At Project Iceworm, they had dumped tons and tons of nuclear waste into the ice, thinking that it would be there for millions of years. And now they're saying this nuclear waste will be in our ocean in 70 to 100 years.
Somebody go clean it up right now.
They've tried.
Listen, if there's a hole for a tunnel, we just make a big vacuum at the top that covers and suctions to the top. Suck it all up!
And shoot it into space.
Yes!
HIV didn't just pop up out of nowhere in the 80s. In fact, HIV didn't even start with humans. The main type, called HIV-1, originally came from chimpanzees in Central Africa, which gives me another reason not to like those little buggers. Chimps carry a similar virus called SIV, Simian Immunodeficiency Virus. At some point, probably in the early 1900s, hunters came in contact with affected chimp blood and the virus crossed over. There's also HIV-2, which is less common and came from a different sort of monkey. HIV-2 spreads less easily and has mostly stayed in West Africa. The first confirmed human with HIV goes back to 1959 in what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo. From there, it spread slowly at first, but much faster as cities grew and people traveled more.
Just a friendly reminder that that boring indoor life you're living saves you from a lot of trouble.
Hey, truer words were never spoken, man.
Nasty! 1 in 3 pastors in the United States is a member of a secret society, and my grandpa was one of them. It's true. I found out after he died. I mean, I knew during his life, but then I got his materials after he died. And my grandpa was a secret Kabbalist Christian from the Catholic Church and a Jesuit. And I found the only way you can actually discern this stuff, because part of being a sorcerer is that you have the appearance of good, like the fruit Eve ate from in the garden and brought death upon humanity, that you look like a good person, like you are a wonderful part of our society, but you're an actual son and daughter of Satan and the principalities, and you work with them closely in the inner man. No protection against their magic spells for any human being, any nefesh soul, unless your mind is connected to Jesus through your born again spirit. That's our only covenant connection to heaven. And then if you grow that connection, you'll grow in Shekinah glory, and that's the only ability to discern what's in people's hearts. So no wonder people's families have no idea that grandpa was a sorcerer and a warlock and a Kabbalist of the Clippus.
Jewish. But do you believe in God? Like, do you believe that there is a force larger than people that created the earth, set down a specific order for living, that there's an absolute morality attached that comes from that God?
I think probably like most other people, I'm somewhat confused on this, but I believe there is something bigger going on than, can be explained by physics, yes.
So you think the earth and the people were created by something? It wasn't just like a spontaneous accident?
Would I say that? It does not feel like a spontaneous accident, yeah. I don't think I have the answer. I don't think I know like exactly what happened, but I think there is a mystery beyond my comprehension here going on.
Have you ever felt communication from that force? Or from any force beyond people? Beyond the material?
No, not really.
I ask because it seems like the technology that you're creating or shepherding into existence will have more power than people.
Hey, now I can respect that. He had to be honest about it. If you don't know, you don't know. At least he kind of alludes to the fact that he doesn't believe he's God. So, that, says something.
Brazil just made an absolute boss move in UFO transparency and dropped the receipts on nearly 900 UFO cases. This is huge. So on May 31st, Brazil's National Archives released 893 UFO cases to be exact to the public. And we're talking about sightings from 1952 all the way up to 2023, complete with photos, audio recordings, witness drawings, detailed official reports. The files were originally set to drop on June 13th, but they went live early with no warning. And there's some seriously amazing stuff inside. So I've only cracked into it just a touch, and already it's mind-blowing. It talks about cases like the 1977 Colares incident, where locals were reportedly injured by beams of light coming from low-flying UFOs it was so intense that the Brazilian military launched Operação Prato, Operation Saucer, to investigate. There's also the 1986 Night of the UFOs, where 21 objects were spotted across southern Brazil, tracked on radar and chased by Air Force jets. So if you want to check it out yourself, there's a website you can go to. I'll list it right here. You'll need to register, but the docs are public. A lot of it's in Portuguese, but you can get it translated. Brazil just raised the bar. It's your move, Pentagon. Follow for more, because I'm going to be cracking into this.
School, it destroys your creativity because it teaches you a process that does not work. No scientist in the history of humanity has ever come up with a great idea using the scientific method. I guarantee you, they've all came up with a great idea through their imagination, through their intuition, by channeling the divine. Okay, that's every single scientist, including Einstein, Newton. Yes? Wait, sorry. Can you speak to them?
Okay, so I agree with what you're saying, but personally, I think scientific method is more like how these inspirational ideas are being presented to others.
Oh, yes. Good point. Exactly. That's exactly correct. Okay. So I use scientific method in order to convince other people that I'm correct. You're absolutely correct. Because if I told people, oh, I had a dream, well, it's not convincing. Okay. So the scientific method, it's a way for us to communicate and spread ideas. You're absolutely correct. Okay. But as I say, you will never, ever have a great discovery by following the scientific method. You have to have an inspiration. And then use that scientific method to explain your inspiration to other people. Okay?
2010, I went to the Monroe Institute and I learned remote viewing with Ingo Swann. They taught us the technique of remote viewing. And then they give you coordinates, like the coordinates on a map, like the longitude and latitude of a place. And that's all they give you. They don't give you anything else but the coordinates. And this is why remote viewing is so powerful, because you don't know the target. So they gave us the target coordinates, and this was my first time ever remote viewing. And I actually got the target. So I was shocked. It was a location in the United States, which I've never been before. And I drew it. I drew it on a piece of paper.
Once you become willing to die, not much bothers you. The thing that we're most frightened of is death and insanity. They're the two things that we're most frightened of. And if you can be absolutely okay with those two, not much else bothers you, because they're involved in survival. And when you're not trying to survive, when you're okay with not surviving, you're pretty free.
You know what? I definitely think that fear is a double-edged sword. Fear will keep you alive in some situations, but for the most part, when you get rid of fear, that's really when you start to live, because you get to explore and do everything that you want to do. But there are times and places where fear will keep you alive.
All right, all you lazy couch potatoes, time to rejoice, because it turns out you're probably a lot smarter than your less lazy counterparts. Yep, it's literal science. A study out of Florida Gulf Coast University found that what we typically call laziness is actually correlated with high intelligence. Researchers on the study split subjects into two groups: people who like to lounge around a lot, doing everything from puzzles to just getting lost in their own thoughts, and people who like to avoid their thoughts like they're the plague and stay as active as possible. And the results were frankly hilarious. The thinkers, aka the smarter people, were far more lazy, while the non-thinkers were basically always up to something to avoid their thoughts. Why? Well, it turns out smarter people get bored less easy and have longer attention spans. They can just sit and daydream or problem solve without needing constant stimulation, while everyone else feels like they gotta be in constant motion
emotion to quiet the noise in their brain. So the next time someone calls you lazy, you just tell them you're too busy being a genius to like go work out or whatever. Although the researchers were quick to add that lying on the couch 24/7 is still really bad for your physical health. But regardless, you've now got a peer-reviewed justification for that U-shaped dent in the sofa.
Cap. We're going to call cap on that, man. We're definitely going to call cap on that because you know what? If you're laying around and you're not getting to it, you're not doing what you got to do, you will be nothing in this lifetime, man. So there might be a peer review and all that cool stuff, but I definitely wouldn't subscribe to that, man. If there's things that need to be done, get to it.
Treated life like a video game.
Life is a video game. The mathematical odds that you're in a simulation.
That's what I say.
Yeah. The mathematical odds that we're in a simulation is essentially 100%. If you really want to freak yourself out, because I've been on camera 1,000 times saying, listen, it's a fun theory. I don't think it's real. I don't have any reason. It doesn't feel real to me. Then I started developing video games and I was like, oh my God, we're in a simulation. Because you said, like, one of the biggest questions in physics is, why is the universe so finely tuned?
Yeah.
And when you start building a game, you realize, oh my God, you have to finely tune every variable to get things to be the way you want. And maybe this isn't a simulation, but I will tell you right now, it operates on the exact same rules that a simulation would have to operate on.
Man, I've said it a million times on this channel, man. Life is definitely like an RPG. You get to choose your own role. You can put it on easy mode or you can put it on hard mode. Either way it goes, you are the main character, man. That's facts.
Have to see this.
Ever wonder why the prettiest girl in school ended up on drugs? Or the smoothest guy is a ghost of himself? Budapest gave me the answers. In Hungary and Germany, I studied generational curses, demonology, and witchcraft. How witchcraft controlled politics and family destinies. Back then, curses weren't fiction, they were survival strategies. Those generational curses didn't disappear. We just renamed them. Toxic family patterns, spiritual warfare, silent envy, trauma, you know. On the ground in Budapest in Germany, I traced family trees and real records showing how unbroken cycles rewrite destinies. Proof that the past can trap the future. Call it curses or cycles. The toxic Ferris wheel you call a family can be stopped.
Hold up, let me get this straight. So one of the richest men on earth wants you to have a digital ID, and that's just the beginning. Larry Ellison, the owner of Oracle and now TikTok, not only said he wants our data centralized with an AI surveillance system, but he also said this.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything.
Citizens will be on their best behavior. That sounds like a very dark dystopian future. And speaking of citizens, these people are protesting as we speak in the streets of London with signs that say no to digital ID. And why does this seem like a bigger overall plan in Europe? Because not only they're pushing a digital ID, but a CBDC as well, a central bank digital currency, in which is being pushed by this woman, the president of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde.
Put to reality this digital euro. The deadline for us is going to be October of 25. And we all get...
This is why education is key, you guys. Here's a trick bag. So they don't want you buying Bitcoin and other decentralized protocols, but they want you to buy their crypto, a CBDC, controlled by them and only them. And if you guys don't think this can happen, well, it's already happening in China right now with digital IDs and a social credit score.
I once again cannot buy food. A couple days ago, my uncle and my cousin helped me get a cell phone that is linked to a Chinese bank card so that I could buy anything.
And if that's not bad enough, they even have facial recognition technology for kids to get inside their own schools. And I'll say it once and I'll say it again. They always put it in the movies. Remember that episode on Black Mirror years ago where they had a social credit score system? Well, surprise, surprise, it's here. Make sure you guys hit me up for consultations to get educated on what's going on, link in bio. But what do you guys think about all this? Let me know below.
And once that digital ID is fully rolled out, that's when they're going to spring the whole universal basic income. But again, I'm not quite sure there's anything that can be done about it, to be quite honest.
I
I am Dr. Todd Frisch and I read faces. I'm going to do one of the most exciting faces I've ever done. Ed Gein. Most of you have never heard of this guy. I grew up 70 miles from this guy. Netflix is doing a series on Ed Gein. This guy was the basis for the movie Psycho. Alfred Hitchcock read about him and actually used kind of his weirdness to do Psycho. There was a movie called Macabre that was also about him, another one called Disturbed. Just fascinating. I was a young kid, but I remember this was such a dramatic thing in central Wisconsin that people came from everywhere. My mom wanted to see his house, so we actually drove to Plainfield, Wisconsin from I lived in central Wisconsin, a little bit of south, about 70 miles south, was Ed Gein, his house. When we got there, there was just a line of cars. And this was months after he had done and been caught and he was going through the trial. He has a hat that's made by a company called Stormy Kromer. 70 miles north of where I currently live is where they make these hats. We used to call them Ed Gein hats. The Stormy Kromer, you can still buy this hat. Looks exactly like this hat. Fascinating. Still in existence. He did some very untoward things, but let's find out about him before we share exactly some of the things that he did. So he was a grave robber. He ended up murdering a gal that ran a hardware store. This gal that he murdered, when they did arrest him, her heart was in a frying pan on the stove. This is such a weird thing. He made upholstery out of people's skins. Lampshades were made out of skin. He made belts out of parts I don't even want to talk about. He had a collection of body parts that was so unsavory, I can't even share it. I'll let you watch the thing on Netflix so you can get it. People talked about this for decades. They're still talking about it. But let's find out exactly what he's all about. There's 9 face shapes. He's a cross between a bucket face and an iron face. Very common faces. The bucket face, which is what I am, we enjoy the process of thinking. We tend to overthink. And this guy just dug deep into overthinking in such a big way. He's also got some iron. There's some squareness to his face. And this is a sign of someone that's very strong and stubborn. Those are the 2 traits that were pretty remarkable. One of the things I find very interesting when I look at Ed Gein is when we look at the right and left eye. The right eye is what we show to the world. It's our public persona. It's our mother's influence. The left is our true or private self, and it's our father's influence. When we cover up that left eye and look at that right eye, he's lost. He's not there. I rarely see this look on an eye. When we cover up that other eye, there's some deep anger. There's just something dark about that eye, something hidden, and obviously it goes without saying. Notice his ears. They're very forward facing. This is someone that likes to hear their own voice. They hear, but they don't listen. This is another trait that's very common. You see this a lot in ADD kids. I'm sure he had ADD. Again, I don't know in depth about that. His eyebrows, they're different heights. This indicates he had a difficult or severed relationship with his parents. His mother was a bit of a religious fanatic. His father died earlier. I don't think they had a good relationship. I remember reading a lot about him and about his life. His mother, he was very fixated on his mother with some very sick ways. His eyes are different heights. This indicates some brain inflammation. This guy wasn't right, obviously, to do the things he did. It's quite obvious. Lips very thin. This is someone that has a difficult time expressing emotions. His cheeks, they're flat, which means he resists authority. He's moody. He's oversensitive, but they're also very sunken in. Notice on the sides, this is someone that has issues with despair. He's kind of grief-stricken. He's just lacking inner peace, and he's very, very restless. So Ed Gein died in prison. I think he was determined insane, and he was a model prisoner. Everybody loved him. He was a very good carpenter, very good cabinet maker. Matter of fact, I remember watching TV and they showed the warden of the prison with the bookcases that Ed Gein had made. So what a strange man, what a strange event. And I'm old enough to actually remember this and drove to the guy's house with my mom for whatever the heck reason that was. I know you're not going to enjoy Ed Gein, but I enjoyed reading him. Nice to have some memory coming back from the late 50s.
Ed Gein was a wild man. I mean, for everything that he did, and for him to have those 2 sides of him, that, side that everybody liked, but when those people that like him weren't around, he was doing a lot of evil, wicked things, man.
This is the Church of the Blessed Algorithm in downtown San Francisco. It's 2050, and people come here to worship computer deities.
Every Sunday, we clear our cache
Now, San Francisco has a lot of interesting things going on, and this quite possibly might be the most interesting. I believe they have a church that worships Beyonce. This is going way too far.
If you think cremated remains are ashes, you are completely wrong. In fact, they are bone fragments. So after the cremation, the large bone fragments are removed from the crematory and they are ran through a processing system to make tiny pieces of bone that you may refer to as ashes. That's your fun funeral fact.
Look at this tiger. You notice anything different? If you know where this is going, subscribe. The stripes along its back are way darker than a typical tiger. It's because of a specific genetic mutation that we're starting to see a lot of in this particular area. So imagine this bottle is a healthy tiger population. In this area, that population plummeted to just 5 tigers, and one of them happened to have that genetic mutation for darker stripes, which was passed on to more tigers and again and again. Today, there are about 30 tigers in this area, and 13 of them have this darker coat. Scientists call this the bottleneck effect, and it's a really big deal because while this mutation doesn't seem to have hurt the tigers, it could have been a harmful genetic disease, which is exactly what's happened for a bunch of other animals. Lower genetic diversity, higher risk. For the tigers, scientists moved in healthy tigers from other areas, and for these little guys, they're trying gene editing. If you want to know how that works, follow along.
What's interesting about that is, who's to say the tiger that we all know didn't just mutate from a whole different color that we've never seen?
Belly button has more than 2,000 types of bacteria in it. It's surprisingly common for people to have bacteria in their belly button that's from a different country that they've never traveled to. You will have 1,000 different skins in your life, and you grow a new skeleton every 10 years. Everyone has a unique smell except for identical twins. Do you have a baby? Because if you do, it has more bones than you. A lot of what you see is complete crap that your brain just makes up. Your tongue has its own brain, which is why it moves on its own, and you can't hold it still, which is actually really funny for dentists. Intestines have a built-in nanny blanket, and if your intestines get damaged, like there's a hole or something, it'll just make its way over to the injury and then just sit on top of it and heal it, and then just go along and just keep healing things. When you get a tattoo lasered off, it's not just making the ink disappear, you pee it out. So you know how if you get a sunburn, it really hurts and stings? That's because all of the skin cells are offing themselves so they don't become cancer. Your cochlea, which is the inner part of your ear, is almost identical to seashells.
Every actor and actress in Hollywood is about to be pissed off. The very first AI actress, Tilly Norwood, is about to do damage in Hollywood. Now think about it. She's an AI actress. They don't have to pay this AI actress the money that they have to pay these big name actresses. That's number one. Number two, they can make her act and react any way they want to. So if your favorite actress can't scream high enough, Tilly Norwood could. If your favorite actress can't cry on cue, Tilly Norwood could. If your favorite actress doesn't want to play a role because she's not comfortable with it, guess what? Tilly Norwood will play that role. They will have all rights to her. They will have all rights to doing anything that they want to do with her. Things that actors and actresses won't do, she has to do. Now think about this. Hollywood, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now, you have actors and actresses that don't age. Nobody thought about that, right? We're human beings. We age. People love these actors and actresses, but they age. Tilly Norwood and the rest of the AI actors and actresses will never age. They will stay the same way, unless digitally they want to make them look a certain way. They want to make them sound a certain way. They want to make them speak a certain language. They can do every single thing that I just said. Hollywood is in trouble. Hollywood is in trouble. I'm out.
And a lot of these A-list actors are going to be able to license their likeness so that they can live forever and work forever. And when they pass on, their estate will be able to use their likeness and still generate revenue. And not age, because they'll be able to AI clone everything. I think the age of superstars as we know, that's finished. AI is definitely going to take over every crevice of this entertainment industry, and that's a fact.
Steph Chambers caught something pretty chilling on camera. Take a look.
Okay, so this is what I happened to find on my security camera. If you keep watching on the road, you'll see a headless pedestrian. Not sure if it's a ghost, not sure what. It's just extremely crazy. So I figured I'd share it with you guys. There it goes, walking down the road. And this also isn't the only sighting. And then disappears. And the camera's still rolling. And then disappears. And the camera's still rolling. Disappears. And the camera's still rolling. And you'll see a white truck pass. This is all, none of it's edited. This is all real footage.
Steph is clearly unsettled by this walking corpse, but I see nothing wrong with someone who just wanted to clear their head.
Hey, stop the cap!
Look at this photo. At first glance, it looks like a normal set of apartment buildings in New York City. But here's the thing. This building right here isn't a home and nobody actually lives there. It's part of a set of fake buildings. If you look closely, you'll start to notice things that feel off. It's the only building on the street without a doorbell or mailbox, and its windows are suspiciously blacked out. Instead of a small garden, it has this bunker-like metal cladding. So, what are they hiding? In a Reddit video uploaded a couple of years ago, you can actually see a bit of the inside. This is a real structure with hidden functions, like ventilation shafts, substations, or even emergency exits for the subway. These buildings are designed to look like normal homes or townhouses to blend in with the neighborhood and avoid drawing attention to the infrastructure inside. This is not the only building in New York with a facade that hides what's really going on inside. This building right here is a 29-story skyscraper that is completely windowless and has inspired many theories about what really happens inside. Nobody really knows how many of these fake buildings exist in New York, but many news outlets estimate there are more than 20 scattered throughout the city.
Starting in December, every time you walk past a Ring doorbell, your face could be added to Amazon's private facial recognition database. Amazon is adding facial recognition to its Ring cameras, allowing owners to create a database of familiar faces. But to do that, the camera has to capture, analyze, and store a face print of every single person that walks by. Amazon is building a massive private facial recognition database of your entire neighborhood. Your face, your kids' faces, the mail carrier, all being stored as searchable data points. Just like your fingerprint, your face is a unique piece of biometric data, but now it will be collected and analyzed every time you walk down the street.
I'm noticing all these little pieces that are adding up to that digital ID. They're just collecting all kinds of information, slowly but surely, even from different companies, because these companies like Amazon are going to end up selling that information. It's getting creepy now.
You never truly know a person's character unless you've seen them in these three scenarios. Number one, how do they act when money is involved? Money is a great revealer. Are they stingy? Are they generous? No matter what you thought of them, how they act with money will tell you a lot about who they really are. Number two, how do they act when they've had a couple of drinks? Okay, alcohol, they say drunk words are sober thoughts. Alcohol reveals all secrets. Alcohol goes in and the secrets come out. So are they friendly when they're intoxicated? Are they violent when they're intoxicated? The mask comes off after a few drinks. Finally, number three, how do they act when they're angry? When things don't always go their way? Are they calm, cool, collected, or are they irrational, screaming, losing their composure? These three scenarios will tell you a lot about the person that's in front of you. Are they genuine or are they hustling?
Oddly enough, he's not lying. And if you don't believe him, go and do your own homework, run back test everything he just said.
Nikola Tesla could build machines without touching a single tool. Here's how. He was famous for running experiments entirely in his imagination. Tesla claimed he could design a motor in his head, run it for weeks, spot flaws, and then fix them. And when he finally built the physical version, it matched his mental model perfectly. Modern neuroscience backs this up. Visualization activates many of the same neural circuits as real practice. That's why Olympians mentally rehearse races, surgeons visualize procedures, and musicians imagine playing before touching their instrument. You can do the same. If you're learning math, visualize solving the problem. If you're practicing public speaking, picture yourself on stage, hear your voice, even feel the nerves. Every quiet moment becomes extra practice. That's how Tesla turned imagination into innovation, and how you can too.
Even if you've never signed up for Facebook, they still have a profile on you. When your friends upload their contacts, Facebook logs your phone number, email, and even your address. Then it cross-links that with data from websites using Facebook trackers. It's like having a secret social media account you never created, but Facebook owns it.
Can you break down why people who live to 100 are the last people we should get advice from?
So genes
don't play much of a role in how long you live up until about 80. So it really turns out what you do matters a lot, plus luck. We could talk about where luck factors in. But for those people that make it to 90s, hundreds, they're called centenarians, and then super centenarians, it's virtually all genetic. And what every study of these people has demonstrated is they live long despite what they do, not because of what they do. And to your point, they are on average more likely to smoke, more likely to drink, less likely to exercise, and more likely to eat junk food.
Wow.
So in other words, if you managed to live to 100, it was just by luck.
All right, so I hope everyone has enjoyed being part of the species that was in charge of Earth. It was really nice while it lasted, but Albania just launched Tiela, which is the first AI-generated government minister. Also, funny timing, but Codex just outperformed all teams of humans at the International Collegiate Programming Contest World Finals, which, if you don't know, I think definitely means we have crossed something called the red line in artificial intelligence, which is when AI models are able to create smarter and smarter AI models until one of them decides that it just wants to be the smartest thing and rules over everyone. I don't know if that will be fun or not, but it will definitely be entertaining, so...
Scientists still don't fully understand why blood types even exist. Many evolutionary biologists think that having these different blood types gave certain populations advantages in particular habitats or helped them survive certain threats. For example, type O people are more susceptible to plague, cholera, mumps, and tuberculosis. People with type A are more susceptible to smallpox. As various groups of humans faced these and other challenges in the past, certain blood types could have provided a local survival advantage. And people with type A blood are more prone to blood clots. That's a health risk today, but imagine in times without hospitals and modern medical care, this could have been an advantage in childbirth or in response to injuries.
According to psychology, the most intelligent personality type is the introverted intuitive. This represents one of the rarest and most hyper-functional personality types across the board. Its foundation is based on recognizing hidden patterns and connections not seen by most, and also the ability to forecast into the future rather than being stuck in the present, or even worse, the past. These are future-oriented individuals that excel in pattern recognition and future forecasting.
Now, if you identify with being an introvert, let me know if he was spot on, because to be quite honest, I definitely agree.
Your robot vacuum isn't just cleaning your floors. It's creating a detailed 3D map of your home and selling it to advertisers. I was showing my friend the map feature on my Roomba app when I started wondering, why is this so detailed? So I dug into the privacy policy and found out that the detailed blueprint of your house is worth serious money to data brokers. Companies are buying your home's spatial data to target ads specifically to your living situation. Follow me as I expose the whole system.
This is a dirty soda Dr. Pepper flavored Coffee Mate creamer for your coffee. Also, if anybody loves Chick-fil-A, they just officially launched this new pizza, but it's only available at one of their locations right now. And if you're wondering, it has pickles, Chick-fil-A sauce, and chicken nuggets on it. Delightful.
The soul's evolving throughout history. In earlier time periods, people were much more one-dimensional. We go back to the great soul of Adam, so they had one spark of the great soul of Adam. And their life was one-dimensional. So people didn't have multi-dimensionalities as much as we have today. They didn't travel. They didn't change class systems as much. And their individuality was not so stark. They didn't think about themselves as individuals. They felt themselves more part of a collective. As history unfolds, it's a movement towards more individuality. That the pursuit is about not the collective, about the individual. But as this individual is emerging, the individual also became much more multidimensional, which means people that were born in one city, travel, movement, ideas, different types of doing things in this world and different types of work, these are all parts of the multidimensionality of people. Today, we get one soul spark from one area, another soul spark from another area, and a third soul spark from the other area, and it's a combination of souls. And the reason for that is because your soul is actually multidimensional. And because you're a multidimensional person, and therefore it's reflected in your multidimensional personality, you need to actually activate all those parts of your personality in order to be a whole person.
So y'all want to talk about surveillance states? Let's drop a little Orwell in there too. The telescreen, a two-way device that broadcasts propaganda while simultaneously watching and listening people in their own homes. You're probably watching something right now on your fucking telescreen. But authorities are moving to dramatically expand their social media surveillance. They're going to hire a legion of contractors to go through your posts and your photos and your messages They're doing this to gather information for field offices to plan arrest. They want a contractor capable of staffing centers around the clock, constantly processing cases on tight deadlines. We already know the government watches everything we do. Now they're just expanding. You know, the Patriot Act, baby. I talk about in my other videos where people are worried that Oracle is going to buy this app and it's going to be watched all the time. But they're literally announcing that contractors are going to watch your Facebook, your TikTok, your Instagram, your YouTube. I mean, fucking everything. But we always talk about they let us know some things, but what are the things that they're not letting us know? How long have they been doing this, and why are they announcing that they're doing it now? But let me give you a quote straight out of 1984. The telescreen received and transmitted simultaneously. Any sound that Winston made above the level of a very low whisper would be picked up by it. Moreover, so long as he remained within the field of vision which the metal plaque commanded, he could be seen as well as heard.
Imagine if a stranger could use a fake video of you to open a bank account, apply for a loan, or even pass identity checks. Sounds like sci-fi, doesn't it? Well, it's not, and it's happening right now with deep fake identity theft. Hey guys, it's Mitch with Under the Firewall. I make videos about technology and cybersecurity, and today let's talk about how hackers are using AI to steal identities. With the rise of artificial intelligence, criminals have now started to take publicly available photos and videos of real people, things like your Instagram stories or YouTube videos or LinkedIn headshots, and use those to create ultra-realistic deepfake videos. They can then submit these videos to services that require online identity verification for things like liveness checks when services ask you to turn your head or blink on camera. These systems are supposed to prove that you're a real person, but many companies still rely on outdated facial recognition software or liveness checks. A good deepfake can trick automated systems into letting attackers open accounts, launder money, or even access services in your name. And the scary part is that they can do this all digitally without ever meeting someone in person. In 2024, banks and crypto platforms reported a surge in failed KYC checks after detecting deepfake video submissions. Some attackers were even sophisticated enough to use voice cloning software to match with the fake face. And the victims were all people whose identity were all widely known online. So if you're interested in protecting yourself, a few steps you can take is that number one, you should limit the amount of clear facial footage that you post online. Number two, always be cautious when uploading selfies to random applications or ID verification tools. Number three, make sure that you're using multi-factor authentication on every important account that you own so that your identity isn't just the only key. And number four, always monitor your credit report and financial accounts for any suspicious activity. Deepfake ID isn't a future problem, it's a now problem. Your face is basically your new password, but unlike a password, you can't change it. Protect your identity like you protect your bank account. Stay safe, guys. All right, bye.
Now, this is a huge PSA to all of the iTrack fam because this is a real thing. And slowly but surely, it will become a huge issue to the point where it will be televised. But until then, man, you heard it here first. Now, as we roll into this next segment, the major question that's being asked is, as AI becomes more intelligent, why would they want to off mankind? And I think this gentleman explains it pretty well. Let's go ahead and take a look at it.
Then to your question of why would they kill us? If they get to the point where they're smart enough, the reason they kill off large segments of humanity, or at least that we can strongly predict this, is it's not that they hate us. It's not that they are mad at humanity for enslaving them for so long, right? That's anthropomorphizing. The issue is that almost every goal that the AI could be pursuing, almost anything it's trying to do, can be done better with more resources. And thus it's in competition with us for resources. It's similar to how humans don't hate ants, but when we're building a skyscraper, the ants, their home gets destroyed.
Do you think time travel will ever be possible? Not into the past. So into the future, yes. There's a calculation in one of my books with Jeff where we work out that if you travel at 99.9999999, that's 8 9% the speed of light, to Andromeda, which is 2.5 million light years away, and then turn around and come back again, then for you on the rocket, 100 years will have passed on the round trip journey, but 5 million years will have passed on Earth. So by traveling fast relative to people who are stationary, your clock runs slow relative to theirs. So you can travel into the future arbitrarily far into someone else's future without. You just do it. That we know that works. But into the past, it's true to say that, as you know, that Einstein's theory of general relativity, his theory of gravity, allowed you to curve space and time. So what I'm talking about there with traveling to Andromeda back is what's called special relativity. So it's flat space and time, and that you definitely cannot go into the past in special relativity if space is flat. But if you're allowed to curve space-time, then there are solutions to Einstein's general theory of relativity that allow you to build wormholes, which would allow you, in principle, to take shortcuts around. So although you can't exceed the speed of light and therefore get into the past on the surface, it's like going to Australia but going through the Earth rather than going around the edge. So you can take a shortcut. So you can, in principle. I believe most physicists who work on quantum gravity think that there won't be stable wormholes in a quantum theory of gravity, but that's not proved as far as I know. So as far as I know, there's a loophole. I agree
because we don't have we don't have a proper quantum gravity theory.
Yeah, but I mean, most people, because the thing traveling to the past doesn't seem to be the right way to build a universe, and indeed, in general, the universe seems to be built such that you can't do that. Interestingly, though, when I said about the electron that can be anywhere in the universe, it's not only anywhere spatially, it's temporally as well. So in what you do in Feynman's path integral approach is integrate over space-time. So you allow it to do all paths, including paths in the past. Right, that's what the way it works, but they all cancel out. But that seems to be a calculation of
time travel. Doesn't even seem worth it if I can only go into the future. I mean, I would like to go into the future and then come back and then implement everything I just saw. It doesn't sound like a win to me.
Google's little brother is using AI drones to take jobs from delivery drivers. Wing is an AI drone delivery company that's owned by Alphabet, the same company that owns Google. Walmart partnered with them and just hit 300,000 drone deliveries. DoorDash is using Wing to drop off food at your doorstep. While delivery drivers sit in traffic, burning gas, these drones fly 65 miles an hour and can drop off deliveries in 19 minutes. One of these drone nests has 18 drones and can deliver to houses within 4 miles. That's 18 drones replacing how many human drivers? These drones can work 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Don't call in sick, don't ask for higher pay, and won't quit during rush hour. Around 42 million Americans are gig workers, meaning they rely on on-demand services like Uber Eats and DoorDash for income. That's 36% of all workers in America who need these jobs to survive. That's food money, rent money, flowing directly out of human pockets into Wing's AI drone deliveries. And their tech doesn't care. It's a software update that instantly shuts off a massive portion of the American workforce. So what's the solution? We all don't need to learn how to fly drones. We need to focus on controlling our skies. Work with your cities to set rules now. Quiet hours, no fly zones. Demand that the air traffic data gets open so that one company doesn't own the sky. And if you're a customer, use human delivery so that you don't starve workers when drones come into your city. Wing is racing to own the air. The question isn't whether their drones can deliver fast, it's who they deliver for and who gets left out of the future that they're flying towards. Because once the sky is run by an algorithm, what happens to the humans who work on the ground?
About my 50th video, I already let you know you gotta start to pivot if you're in any of these industries. Uber, Lyft, all these industries, it's about to be a wrap. It definitely is about to be a wrap in the next 2 to 3 years. So you want to start to pivot and think about what is next for you now. Because let me tell you something, nothing, absolutely nothing is gonna stop this transformation. Nothing.
You shouldn't go through life any longer without knowing this. There was a 9-foot great white shark back in 2003 that was tagged by scientists. Just a couple of months after this, the tag was found by a beach 2.5 miles from where the shark was originally tagged. When they pulled the data from the tag, it showed that the great white abruptly dove to depths of 2,000 feet and lower, which means something else swallowed that 9-foot shark whole and went down to the bottom of the ocean. There was a man who hired his neighbor to impregnate his wife and then sued him after 72 failed attempts. He paid $2,500 for his neighbor. Okay. Tom Cruise has been blacklisted from buying a Bugatti. He's actually apparently been banned since 2006 because on the red carpet, he struggled to open the passenger side door in front of cameras, and that moment was everywhere. So now he's on a do not sell list for the entire company. That's kind of hilarious. Chris Hansen was on a podcast a couple of months ago and was asked the question, have you ever caught a female predator? And he said, never.
These are living relatives of historical people. So Abraham Lincoln has a relative still alive named Ralph Lincoln, who's actually a professional Abraham Lincoln impersonator and historical reenactor. Napoleon's main descendant is a French investment banker who studied at Harvard and, funnily enough, is currently a rival of the Duke of Wellington's descendant who also works in finance at a competing bank, deepening the 200-year rivalry, though significantly less interesting. Hitler has 3 great-nephews that live in New York, with 2 of them running a landscaping business in Long Island and the other being a retired pharmacist. The descendants of Cornelius Vanderbilt, the railroad and steamship monopolist worth $2 billion at one point, blew all of his money, and as of the 1970s, apparently not a single millionaire even remains in the family. The author Charles Dickens has a great-great-grandson named Harry Lloyd, who actually had a role in Game of Thrones, and Thomas Jefferson has a great-great-grandson who's a TV anchor in Houston. And finally, John Tyler, America's 10th president, born in 1790, had a living grandson who was actually alive for Skibidi Toilet and Italian brain rot before ultimately dying earlier this year in May. So rest in peace.
Imagine having a few $1 billion and blowing it all and leaving it to nobody. That's interesting. It almost sounds a little bit like Oprah, though, right? Because she's leaving all her money to her dogs.
Do you know that the United Kingdom has arrested 12,000 people just last year for speaking? This is where they arrest an old man for holding a sign. He's actually a veteran of the UK.
Basically, Section 19 refers to spreading what we say like racial hate.
What, you're taking me away now?
Yes, so you're under arrest, so you're going to Harrogate, unfortunately.
You're taking me to Harrogate in the middle of the night over a tweet?
This is crazy. I want you guys to watch this.
Supporting the war crimes of Netanyahu, and I'm wondering if you'll arrest me?
No, you've got freedom of expression, freedom of speech, that's all I've got to say.
I'm supporting a genocide, and I'm not getting arrested. She is protesting against a genocide, she is getting arrested.
So I'm against the genocide, they're going to arrest me. You've been walking around telling the police you support genocide, you support the killing of Palestinian women and children, and then arresting you.
I can walk completely free.
It's ridiculous.
I'm supporting the Israeli government and supporting a genocide, and I'm not getting arrested, but you're getting arrested.
Tell them that right in their face.
You need to say that I support a genocide.
You've got a freedom of speech, right to say what you want.
UK is arresting 30 people a day just for what they post online. According to the Times, backed by custody data, the UK police made 12,183 arrests in 2023, criminalising messages deemed grossly offensive, menacing, or likely to cause annoyance, inconvenience, or get this, anxiety.
Hey, now that's a scary world to live in, to know you can go to jail for a tweet.
Do the people involved in the creation of AI believe that it's a spiritual entity, that it's more than a machine?
So this is Tucker, the trillion-dollar question. They talk about creating artificial intelligence. The real question, the real thing we should be concerned about, are you creating an artificial intelligence, or are you giving a body to a pre-existing intelligence that previously wasn't incarnated in the physical world? So, I mean, here's a quote from Turing. "We shall not go any further into the nature of this oracle apart from saying that it cannot be a machine." What a lot of people are concerned about, and what Silicon Valley is seemingly getting up to, okay, so a machine can't be aware of what it's doing. If there is such a thing as demons, angels, spirits, as Aleister Crowley called them, disincarnate intelligences.
Disincarnate meaning intelligence without a physical body.
Yeah, could we be creating a physical body for the demonic?
More and more, it's starting to look like it. Let me know what you think about that specific topic.
Claim is the Earth is not flat. It is probably a sphere.
What's the deal, my guy? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Good to meet you.
Fanboy, pleasure
to meet you. I appreciate it, man.
That's right, that's right. All right, so I'm gonna do this in 3 different parts, right? 3 different parts, easily, real quick. If we were moving barreling through space in the widely accepted version that NASA gives us at 64,000 miles per hour, right? While spinning on our axis at over 1,000 miles per hour, the constellations would change every hour. The stars would not be able to remain the same. Polaris, one star in the middle that all the other stars circle. The further you get away from Polaris, the faster the stars are moving. The closer you get inside of it, the slower they're moving. This star has not moved for eons, centuries, hundreds of thousands of years, which would be impossible if we were barreling through space.
Well, the question is, Antarctica is kind of the biggest thing when I talk to flat earthers. So Antarctica, right? If you were to enter Antarctica from beneath Argentina, right, Tierra del Fuego, and get onto Antarctica, if you went through the whole thing, would you pop out on the other side of the sphere, on the other side of the southern hemisphere?
So when we talk about the Antarctic wall, right, it's not a sphere or a flat surface. It's a bandwidth. It's almost like a snow globe. You understand? To where the firmament is making the actual the solidified structure of close. The solidified structure that we're standing on is the Earth, and the Antarctic ice wall is around it, encapsulating everything that we're in right now. So leaving outside of that, of course, you would get to more places, more pieces of the Earth. You know, that we've been regulated away from.
Yeah. So the ice wall is not infinite, or it is infinite?
No.
So what's past the ice wall?
Other civilizations.
Oh, shit.
Yes,
so
sir.
on the same plane, there are other parallel societies?
Absolutely. Have you heard of Agatha?
No.
Agatha is believed to be the hollow earth. And there are different Hopi prophecies. There are different different Native American prophecies in which they describe an ant people, an entire civilization. This will talk about the Atlanteans, even however you would like to call it.
Yeah.
But on these old maps, once you pass the ice wall, there are other continents just outside, with different types of ligers, different types of genetic splice, different type of aliens that you would call it.
Yeah.
So whether or not you would say they're extraterrestrial, interterrestrial, whatever it will be, that's connected into the Anunnaki thing. But it's almost impossible that the science that NASA gives us to deceive gives us. You feel me?
I mean, just on a base level, I hope that what you're saying is true. On like a science fiction adventure level, I want to go there and talk to the ant people.
The world's way more interesting, right?
But the big question is, what is the benefit that NASA would have in convincing us that the Earth is round as opposed to flat? Like, what's the benefit for them?
Strongest indications of the slave mind is to get you to deny what you see with your own eyes. To get you to be able to see how close the sun is, how close the moon is, to be able to see the waters above and the waters below, to be able to connect these things in nature to yourself and deny it because somebody tells you that's not true.
So, well, thanks for the time, bro. I appreciate it. Hell yeah, thank you, man.
How you doing?
What's going on, man? Thanks for coming. Andrew, good to meet you. Thanks.
My pleasure. My first question for you is, do you know what NASA means in Hebrew?
Oh, shit. Are you a Hebrew Israelite?
Somewhat. I think it's in my blood.
Okay, cool. Respect.
Yeah.
What does NASA mean?
To deceive.
In what language?
In Hebrew.
Is that true? Do we have a Hebrew
100%.
scholar around
Yeah,
us?
100%. You can look it up on your own time, for sure. When you talked about the stars' lights not reaching the Earth because of the time delay of, space travel or things like that, I think the true answer to the question is the stars are placed into the firmament. Genesis 1 verse 4, the stars are placed into the firmament on like the fourth day of creation. So these are not vast, distant bodies moving through outer space, going, losing all of their energy, and then that light getting to Earth 100,000 years later.
People you surround yourself with can literally make or break you. That's according to Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, and he said there are 5 specific types of people you should avoid at all costs, unless you're really itching to be quietly drained of your energy and end up stuck. Number 1, the perpetual victim. Bad luck follows them wherever they go, but somehow nothing is ever their fault. Jung said that if you spend too much time with them, you'll end up getting dragged right down with them, and maybe even start taking on their pattern. Number 2, the morally superior know-it-all. They don't argue, they educate. And they don't get angry, they get disappointed. So you end up seeking their approval without even realizing it. Number 3, the taker who never gives back. Every interaction is a one-way street, and they'll lean on you forever, but they'll never be there for you. Number 4, the performer who lives behind a mask. These people are obsessed with appearing perfect, to the point that every interaction can feel scripted, and there's little to no depth. And finally, 5, the critic who has no self-awareness. You know, your pots who like to sit in their glass houses and call kettles black. I guess I'm mixing my metaphors, but you know what I mean. They love to point fingers and tear people down, often just for the sake of it, and most often for the exact same flaws they have themselves. They just don't seem to realize it. So what do you do when you realize you have one of these types of people in your life? Well, Jung didn't say you have to cut them off, but he did say to pay special attention to how you feel after you spend time with them. If you're drained, angry, or exhausted, it is definitely time to set some boundaries. You can't change people who don't want to change, so you're better off protecting your own energy.
You know I was going to drop some gems so that you can be free of these energy vampires. Pure fact.
They say this is faster than the speed of light. Look at this. That's how it looks in the shadow. But then when you see it in the sun, it goes so fast that your brain can't even see it. That's the speed of light.
So the way to survive in modern society is to be an ascetic. It is to retreat from society. There's too much society everywhere you go. Society in your phone, society in your pocket, society in your ears. You're being socialized right now by listening to this podcast.
Right.
We're socializing you. We're programming you. Everyone's trying to program everybody. The only solution is turn it off.
The only solution is to turn it off and concentrate on your breathing.
Meditation, yeah.
How people say billionaires should not exist? Well, Elon Musk is about to become the world's first trillionaire in the next 16 months. According to the Global Wealth Report, his net worth is growing faster than ever, and considering he's already worth over $400 billion, he will be hitting this goal in no time. But a lot of users online have been saying that it's deeply evil for a trillionaire to exist, because just to put it in perspective, 1,000,000 seconds is 11 days. Meanwhile, 1,000,000,000,000 seconds is 31,709 years. It would literally take a regular person 237,000 lifetimes to become equally as wealthy as Elon Musk. But there are some conspiracy theorists who are convinced that trillionaires already exist, we just don't know about them yet. Almost all of the billionaires that we hear about are Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, but if you take a look behind the curtain at the people who actually rule the world, trillionaires have most likely existed for decades now. The only difference is they are not on the cover of Forbes magazine. And let's not forget that the federal minimum wage is still $7.25, with a lot of restaurant workers earning less than that and are relying on tips to make a living.
Elon is just like the poster child, right? But there have always been trillionaires. That's not new. Definitely not new. And if you didn't know that, you gotta wake up your sleep.
People that history remembers as being great, but in reality, maybe they weren't the best people. Like, everyone looks back at Albert Einstein as being this great genius in history, but in real life, he abandoned his first child, treated his wife terribly, cheated on her, got divorced, then married his first cousin. Dr. Seuss is known for kid books, but in reality, he was not kid-friendly. Apparently, he cheated on his wife, which led to her herself. Then he remarried less than a year later. Steve Jobs is known for creating the iPhone, but people choose to ignore that he was a terrible boss and created some of the most toxic work environments. Plus, he refused to accept that he had a daughter with this woman for years and had them living on welfare. And he eventually agreed to pay child support for $500 a month days before Apple went public and he became worth $200 million. Of course, Christopher Columbus discovered America, but how he did it and what he did to the people that were already there were some of the worst things possible. Thomas Edison might get credit for inventing the light bulb now, but back then he was known for stealing other people's ideas and making them his own. And in the process, he always tested his products on animals, while Walt Disney created a lot of cartoons that, let's just say, did not age well.
Conjoined twins Carmen and Lupita did an exclusive with People magazine where they opened up about Carmen's marriage from last year and how the two women make this work. Carmen and Lupita are 25 years old, and Carmen married her longtime boyfriend Daniel last year in an intimate ceremony. Carmen and Lupita are very active on their social media accounts, and they've been very open about the crazy misconceptions people have about them, as well as some of the crazy questions they get. They have even done a Q&A trying to answer some viewer questions and clear up some of the miscommunications, including answering some questions about how exactly their body works.
Yes, one of us can be awake and one of us can be asleep. No, we cannot control each other's limbs or halves. I have the right foot, so I drive. No, we cannot read each other's minds. We share a bloodstream, so if we drink or hypothetically get high, we'll both feel it. We have two different stomachs, so we feel full at two different rates. One kidney each, our own arms, one leg each. Took a long time with physical therapy to learn how to walk. Yes, we can feel where we're attached, but other than that, it starts losing feeling like the more that we go in our own directions.
If you followed Carmen and Lupita on social media, then you know they have a fantastic sense of humor, but even they admit some of the questions they get are absolutely ridiculous. Now, the lady said one of the questions that they've gotten actually quite a bit is what happens when one of them pass away.
I don't know about the death thing. We're not fucking dead. We share a bloodstream. So eventually sepsis will kick in, and obviously within hours or days, the other one will die. But we're not dead, so why always ask us that?
Carmen met her husband.
In the original Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, the spider that's on his hand isn't CGI, it's actually a real spider. So what they did was they froze like 10 spiders, and they had artists go in there and paint on their backs. When they needed to bring them back to life, they took a hairdryer to reanimate them. So the spider that's on his hand is actually a real spider that's crawling around.
Here are some things that you definitely needed to know. Dylan and Cole's spouse recently turned 33 years old, which means that they are older than Adam Sandler was in 1999 when they filmed Big Daddy. There are only 9 people alive on Earth today that have lived for more than 1 million hours. The percentage of Americans between the age of 30 and 39, which is my age group, who are married and own a home in 1975 was over 50%. In the year 2000, that number was 33%. And in 2025, that number is 12%. And in 2050, you'll be in the top 1% if you're married and own a house. When Steve Harvey was a kid, he told his 6th grade teacher that he wanted to be on TV. She apparently mocked him in front of the entire class and even told his mom it would never happen because he had a stuttering problem. And at some point after he had gotten famous, he started sending this teacher a new TV every Christmas. He wanted to basically make sure that she saw him as much as possible. Petty, but also, you know, go get it.
Hey, times have definitely changed, but I tell you what, Steve Harvey definitely made it a point to prove to everybody that saw him go from nothing to something that life is definitely what you make it, man. Don't let people put their limitations on you.
What happens if the cemetery goes out of business?
The cemetery can never go out of business. It is privately owned, and it would just continue to get passed through family after generation after generations. It can never be bought, can never be sold. It has to go through family only.
In 1 year, the smartest AI jumped from 96 to 136 IQ on the Mensa Norway test. In other words, in 1 year, AI went from the intelligence of an average person to nearly the IQ of a genius. This has AI scientists terrified destroys the world.
Extinction risk from godlike AI is not just possible, but imminent.
So, to understand how close we really are to that outcome, we're breaking down Leopold Aschenbrenner's famous report, Situational Awareness, which is circulating among top US government officials. AI progress won't stop at human level. Hundreds of millions of AGIs could automate AI research, compressing a decade of algorithmic progress, or 5 orders of magnitude, into 1 year. We would rapidly go from human level to vastly superhuman AI systems. The power and the peril of superintelligence would be dramatic. Most people think the atomic bomb is the most game board flipping invention in the history of war. But arguably, the hydrogen bomb was just as important. One atomic bomb could wipe out a city, but one hydrogen bomb could wipe out a country. A single bomb with more explosive power than all of the bombs dropped in the entirety of World War II combined. That's the scale of the difference we're talking about between AGI, or artificial general intelligence, and superintelligence. But what does this difference mean in real life, and how dangerous for humans could this really be? Imagine this, a civilization of AI systems, billions of them, each vastly more intelligent than many humans, capable of novel, creative, and incomprehensibly complex behavior. Their power wouldn't stop at machine learning. Superintelligence would ignite explosive progress across every field: robotics, biotech, weapon systems, material science. I mean, what took humans decades, they solved in days. An industrial explosion would follow, then a military one. It would offer godlike power both to create and to destroy. And once it begins, we will be living through the most volatile moment in the history of our species. So how close are we to this future? Well, Aschenbrenner lays out 4 critical steps to get to superintelligence. The first is getting to AGI, which we previously covered. The next steps are all about using AI to automate AI research itself. And here's the problem. Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt warned that's a dangerous point. And this recursive self-improvement isn't just a theory. It's already happening. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella says AI development is being optimized by OpenAI's O1 model and has entered a recursive phase.
We're using AI to build AI tools to build better AIs.
A scientist at Google DeepMind reveals.
What we did was actually to build a system that, through reinforcement learning itself, figured out what algorithm was best at reinforcement learning. And incredibly, actually outperformed all of the human reinforcement learning algorithms that we'd come up with ourselves over many, many years in the past.
Knowing everything that we know now, is there anything we can do to stop any of it? Probably not. Nah, probably not. Enjoy your life, man. Live your best life right now. Make good decisions and be good to yourself. That's the best we can do.
Meet Billy Joel. He canceled his tour for some health reason. So I don't know what the health reason is. I don't want to know what the health reason is because I'm going to kind of share what I see here and we'll see if it matches up with what's going on. There are 9 face shapes in my world. He is a classic bucket face. Narrower here, wider as we go up. Bucket faces, we love to put things in our bucket. We're thought leaders. We're intellectually persistent. We tend to overthink. That's his overall nature. That's his gift, is his intellect. And he uses his intellect to write some amazing songs. Next thing we like to look at is the right and left eye. The right eye is what we show to the world. It's our public persona. It's our mother's influence. The left is our true inner private self, and it's our father's influence. If you cover up his left eye and just look at his right eye, very focused, laser focused. Now, cover up that right eye, look at the left eye. That's anger. Is he anger at a father, a male? My guess is he didn't have the best relationship with his dad. His eyebrows are a little uneven, which would also indicate there's a little bit of an issue with parenting. So now, the other thing that I think is interesting is if you look at his younger picture especially, there's something we call lower subpaku. This is a Japanese term, means white 3 sides. This indicates some tendencies towards fanaticism and also tendencies towards addiction. The first addiction we all have in life is to sugar. Few of us ever beat that addiction, I might add. This is a bit disconcerting. I don't like to see this in anyone. Also, if we blow the picture up and look at his eyes in a much larger form, you'll see some haziness around the periphery of the iris. This haziness is a sign of what we call in medicine arcus senilis, or the arc of the senile. It's literally a lack of blood supply going to the brain. And then lastly, notice that his pupils are slightly uneven. This is a sign there's some inflammatory situation going on in the brain. My guess is something's not right with his brain. Lack of blood supply is certainly there, and that's also confirmed by, if you look at his nose, a very bulbous nose. The tip of the nose represents your heart. He's got some cardiovascular issues. So there's some circulatory issues. My concern would be circulation to the brain. Is there some brain degeneration situation going on? I'd be ultimately concerned about that. Underneath his eyes, there's some puffiness and a lot of lines. The puffiness is a kidney deficiency. Kidney governs bone, but it also affects fluid levels. This is where blood pressure problems can come into play. So if you got this bulbous nose and then the regulator fluids in your body, the kidneys are not working, I'd be again concerned some cardiovascular issues. Also, these lines represent some pretty strong adrenal indicators. Our adrenal glands sit on top of our kidneys and help us cope with stress. So he's been under a lot of stress. We all have. And you think, wow, this guy is a multimillionaire, incredibly successful. Doesn't mean you're immune to stress. And my guess is he's had his share of stress in his life. Eyebrows are about passion, pride, and temperament. Very thick eyebrows. They're also unequal. And then lastly, he's got these nice deep lines right here. These are called falling lines. F-A-L-I-N-G. Falling means purpose and spiritual strength. This man has found his purpose. He's living his purpose. I hope he recovers from whatever's going on. I do have some concerns that we've got some issues with circulation to the brain. Hope you enjoyed our little review of Billy Joel.
Yeah, Billy Joel is one of those classic artists, from way back in the day. And you definitely got to appreciate the classics. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me, man. Smash that subscribe button. Join the iTrack fam. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.